Hi, welcome to day 2 Sustainable Brands Conference Vancouver. The day started with a session they called cohorts, and this is around meeting delegates that have been coming to Sustainable Brands for the last 10-12 years. Also an opportunity to meet the executive team of Sustainable Brands, basically to make new friends, to understand how the conference app works, which is really good, and just really to maximise your experience and your time here at Sustainable Brands. So it was really good. The day was full of presentations. I wrote screeds and screeds of notes. In fact, some of the sessions, it's quite hard. If it's not the plenary, you have up to maybe 6 or 7 other side sessions that you need to choose from. So it's really hard to decide which ones to go. You kind of want to be in a few of them. So really good presentations from Target today. They were sharing how they had to go to the executive team a few years ago with some really hard facts around and share bad news about how the Target business model was working, and they've really reinvented themselves. Then we had a presentation from Danone, and they were talking about the food revolution. They were talking about that each time we eat and drink, we are voting for the type of world that we want. One of the interesting things from Danone was that Evian water by 2020 is going to be in PET bottles and to be totally carbon neutral. It made me think, well, actually Antipodes Water here in New Zealand have been doing that for a long time, so well above the ahead of the curve. There was then a really interesting presentation from a Swedish brand, a burger brand called Max Burgers, and he was talking about how actually Max Burgers their whole business model is flawed because their product, being beef burgers, is actually contributing to the problem that we have here. That said, Max Burgers are reinventing their burgers, so whilst they still do have beef because consumers demand it, they're reinventing into lots of other interesting types of burgers. As you order a burger, you can actually see the climate information around each burger, so it's helping consumers make a choice against beef because they could see what the carbon footprint of the beef is, as opposed to a chicken or a mushroom burger. One of the things that they were talking about is that actually they're, as an organisation, they're climate positive, so they measure their carbon footprint. They then also offset an additional 10% so that they're actually positive. And he showed a slide of which he had Mevo from New Zealand were on the slide, was certified net positive, and they had Max Burgers, so that was good to see. The conference has a really good exhibition area and lots of different stands there. There's one stand which had these bags, an organisation called Reprieve, and basically this is plastic bottles that are flaked, then chipped, and then the chips are stretched out into fabric, and they then can use that fabric in products. So on their stand they had a Kathmandu shirt hanging there, so it was great to see some New Zealand influence here at Sustainable Brands. The day ended with a tour of the factory for the organisation called Lush, and we actually got to make some soaps, and I was so impressed that actually when you go to the factory, I was expecting it to be quite automated, but in actual fact the products are made by hand. They do say they're made by hand, and I can vouch for having been to the factory that they are. So we made a product which unfortunately won't be sold, but it'll be sold at the staff shop or given to charity, but we made a product, and it was really good to actually get behind the scenes and to understand a bit more about Lush's very strong ethical sourcing and diverse focus. So yeah, so that was day 2. Look forward to the next day. Thank you.